This is where we tell the truth and shame the devil. I love being black. All right, people, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is your boy Martin G, aka the Crime Chaser. I'm with my buddy Orion Meadows. I'll call him the poet, but he wear many titles, many titles. So Orion, we're gonna get right into it. We got a great subject tonight, and I want you guys to listen. I'm going to okay, go Orion. Tell us what we're talking about tonight.
So tonight we're talking about two things that are actually connected. So tonight we're talking about the crisis that we're having in our community with violence amongst women, and especially in the Black community. And
Mhm.
because of that, we're having an event at Northeastern Illinois University, April 23rd, from 6 to 9 p.m. And we're going to have panels discussing some of the root causes, what could be some of the root causes, looking at
Right.
what are some of the solutions, and lastly, we will be honoring some women who have been doing productive things in our society despite some of the negativity, a lot of the negativity that we've been seeing here in the city of Chicago. So that's mostly what we're doing tonight. And I appreciate you for allowing me to be able to speak on your platform about this event and this crisis that has been impacting us and trying to find a way to make the situation better, the conditions better.
Mm. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the CVI world and the behavior world and all that good stuff.
So my name's Orion Meadows, as he said before. I'm a nonviolence trainer. I teach Kingian nonviolence. And for those that might not understand what Kingian or not familiar with Kingian, is basically Dr. King's philosophy of nonviolence. Uh, Nonviolence training is something that they went through during the civil rights movement. And so we've taken that philosophy and we use that to try to condition uh, the people in the community on practicing, on how to practice nonviolence. So that's what I do. And I facilitate it and do workshops on nonviolence, de escalation, conflict resolution. That's primarily what I do in the city and
Al-
in abroad.
Also, tell us about your professional poet. You're a professional poet as well. To tell us a little bit about that. How long you been on that journey?
Oh yeah, so I'm a two-time National Spoken Word Award winning artist. I've been professional as a poet for about 4 years, around approximately 4 years. I've been writing it. I'm an author. I've published 3 books. So that's my love, something that I've been doing for a long time, but professionally around 4 years.
Okay. All right. So let's hear about let's talk about the program that's finna happen, and I'm gonna put up the flyer while you talk and tell us a little bit about what's going on. I'm just gonna put it up here. Tell us a little bit about what's going about
Yeah.
this
So
particular. Go ahead.
okay, yeah. So it's this, like, the title is the state of femininity in the village, and the reason why we gave it that title is because we're seeing a lot of violence involving women. Some of them, they are victims, but some of it is also that the women are the aggressors a lot, and we're seeing that more and more now in our community. And so we're trying to figure out, what is the state of femininity or womanhood in our communities right now, because the violence is continuing, and it's a big concern, especially with women being the nurturers, the teachers in our households. If we're going to continue to see this trend and it gets worse, then obviously the state of the community, the culture, the children that are going to be raised up under this, they're going to inherit these toxic behavioral traits, especially if we continue to have so many women involved in this.
So now, in your practice, I would say, what do you see about women that's being victims and stuff like that? I mean, tell me what you hear. Just tell me some things that you hear. I think we got a video. We might play it, depending on how I feel. Go ahead.
So what do I see? So violence, and just for those who might not know or might not be aware that this actually is sexual assault awareness month. So we see sexual assault, we see domestic violence. So there's a wide array of violence that we see that is inflicted upon women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, it's a wide range. Obviously, we see what we call traditional domestic violence that's going on. But what I've been seeing is more violence with young women in public places, in restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes on public transportation. Not saying that it never happened before, but I think that it's become normalized and even encouraged
Mm-hmm.
more. And so, because of social media, because of even the music and things like that, I think that it's being encouraged, it's being celebrated. And even though violence is something amongst women that's been going on for a very long time, but I don't think that it's been to the extent that we're seeing it now.
Mm-hmm. Because right now as we watching things that's going on right before us, in this city, in the city of Chicago, not in the suburbs. It does happen in the suburbs right here. We know that on the streets of Chicago, we're seeing a lot of women being unalive, killed. That's what we see, and we supposed to protect the women, man. And that's what we're not seeing that. We're just not protecting the women. I'm Margie Johnson, the crime chaser. I'm telling y'all, people, this is what I see. This is stuff that they don't want us to really talk about, bro. And we have to protect the women. And if we don't protect the women, man, I mean, what's real? What's really going on? What's really going on? Because now you look at ISIS. ISIS was killed back in December. All right. Then we look at another young lady, Gabrielle, that was killed back last month on 79th of May. ISIS was killed on the December, I believe around 103rd over there by the police station. Shot down. She was with her boyfriend. Same scenario with Gabrielle. It's crazy, man. We're seeing this over and over, and over, man. So when I look at this, it's like a trend, man. It's like a trend. Now, just the other day on 63rd and Stony Island, a young man, he got killed unalive, and I believe that was his girlfriend. She got shot like in the foot area. So the streets are mean. They're not caring about if you're a male or a female. And I always tell women, I can't tell you who not to date, but I can tell you to be careful. That's what I can tell you, to be careful. I got 4 daughters. Now, I want each and every last one of my daughters to be in love, find them a good soulmate, be a great wife one day. But that part of their life, I cannot give that to them. Only I can just give them instructions on how to pick a real man. When our children get grown, they have a mind of their own and they want to say what they want to say and do what they want to do. And rightfully so. You're not under the instructions of your father and your mother anymore, and you want to do your thing, just your own will. And I understand. I definitely understand. So we're dealing with women, and so there is a big a big thing that we're having next week on the 23rd at the college. And tell us a little bit. Tell us about who's going to be there. Tell us who's going to
Yes.
be there.
So we have Dr. Obari Cartman. Dr. Obari Cartman, a strong, educated African American brother. He specializes in mental wellness and health, especially for African American people. You know, a lot of it is centered on how do we heal as a people in our community, because we've dealt with so many traumas just right here in the Black community. That's unique. It's not like what other groups have faced. And so, with that being said, our issues that we have are very complex, and he speaks to that. So, Dr. Cartman is going to be a wonderful panelist when we're talking about the state of our community, especially women who are the nurturers of our youth. Also, we have Valerie Goodlow. Valerie Goodlow is she's a filmmaker, videographer. She's won a few awards for her work that she's done pertaining to violence in our community. So she's going to be one of our panelists as well. We're going to be honoring Dr. Africa Porter, who's a film maker as well. And she's an Emmy winner. And she's done a lot of work in the community with our youth and with women, focusing on how do we heal as well. And so we're honoring her because, she is kind of like, she epitomizes strength and womanhood and trying to uplift the community. So we'll be honoring her and the Women's Justice Institute. The Women's Justice Institute does a lot of work for women who are system impacted. And if you don't know what system impacted means, women who have been incarcerated in the state of Illinois. So we're going to be honoring them as well. So those are some of the people that we're going to have on our panels that we that we feel could speak to this issue, this topic that we're going to be discussing.
Okay. All right. That's good. And what day is this?
April 23rd, 6 to 9 p.m. We will be at 5480 North St. Louis Avenue. And you're also going to be one of the panelists because, you're an expert in this work when it comes to the violence in our community. You're well respected, and you've been doing community violence intervention work in the community in Auburn, Gresham, and beyond. So you're going to be one of the panelists as well. Okay. So I know that, people, they hear you all the time. They see you on your platform, but this is kind of like a different platform for people to be able to see you and to be able to, hear what your insight on the problems that we're having with the violence here, especially amongst the women.
Okay. Thank you. All right. What I want to say, let me just put myself on the screen real quick. I'm going to take some phone calls today, and normally I haven't been taking phone calls and stuff like that, but I'm going to take some phone calls about violence against women. And I need some women to be honest. If I can get some women to call in, that's what I really want. I'm not discriminating now. We know we do men on this show. And if you're male, you can call in as well. We need to get to the root of it. We see our children, and I'm not just blaming the women only. And the reason why I'm putting the women front center, my brother Orion, is because most women have physical custody of their children. Let me say it again. Most women have physical custody of their children, little children, grown children. And you know, and I know that we have a lot of successful Black women in today's society. They're educated, they're homeowners, they're employed, they're entrepreneurs, they're doing wonderful things. I call this the age of the Aquarius. And they're doing a lot of great things. But what we're seeing in our community, our children are not doing so great. Not all of them now, not all of them. And I don't want to come down on the young people. And a lot of you know that I support the young people. I work with the young people. But we got to call it what it is, though. We got to be honest. In order, this CVI work, we got to identify and detect. You know, we have to. And that's what we want to do, people. We want to just call it out tonight. And we're not on here woman bashing or anything. But we want to get to the root cause. What is the root cause of the violence against the women and our children? Now, I don't want to sway this conversation to another way, but we want to stay on the women, violence against women. We understand that we have women that is in domestic violence relationships. They've been abused verbally and physically, maybe some of them both. And so we have to protect our women as community leaders, my brother. We have to do that. Let me go back to, I believe it was 5 years ago, Orion, and on 47th in the Red Line, there was a young lady was fighting. I'm assuming that was her boyfriend or person that she was dealing with. He stabbed her, and everybody on the platform was watching. Most people had their cameras out. No one said anything. They didn't say stop it, scream, holler, nothing. This video was going all around social media, and he stabbed that woman to death. And I think it was in the summer months or going into summer months. This is on 47 on the platform, the Red Line. And this happened. No one stopped him. And I'm quite sure that there were some men there. Well, they said, well, Martin, I don't like to get involved in domestic violence stuff, man, because it can go there. Yes, it can, man, but we have to protect our women, man. We can't just be no cowards. If you guys out there seeing my daughter get beat up, please give us some assistance, please. And I would do the same as with yours as well.
And I agree. But one of the things too that we have to look at is that now there are so many that are kind of like they're an antagonist and instigators of violence. And so we want to protect our women, but we also want our women to how can I say, behave themselves in an appropriate manner. And so when women begin to get involved in activity that we would say are these type of activities are usually activities that men get involved in, it makes it harder to defend it. So yeah, it's getting to a point to where we're seeing women more aggressive and having firearms, which obviously they need to protect themselves. But I think that, and this is not just with women, with men as well, when someone has a firearm, they're more inclined to be violent than they are when they don't have a firearm, because you feel like you have an advantage. And so male and female, when people feel like they have access to a firearm or some type of weapon, then not all, but if they don't have restraint, if they don't have discipline, then they'll feel more inclined to use that in a situation instead of really trying to resolve a conflict.
Wow, it's deep. It's deep. And we seen a lot of violence with women into today's society. And it's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing. And a lot of these women that are dying, they leaving babies behind, small children behind, man. Just like we seen back last year toward the summer, September, when That young lady got shot down on 22nd Street. That was a sad situation. So you have no winners. One lady is dead, okay. Another lady went to jail months after she did the shooting. She probably going to be convicted for a long time. Get convicted in a court of law. So it's no winners. Both ladies had a child. Both of them. I believe one was pregnant with a child, and one had a small child. So this is what we're seeing right here in the city of Chicago. This is no cap. This is real, people. This is real. And I'm seeing women, let me just say something to the women. I want to speak to the women. I'm sorry, Mr. Orion. I got to say it. Women, it would be wise for you guys to stay out of these men business, out of their fight. Men going to fight. But I see a lot of women inside with these men fighting with them. Now, if you want to play Bonnie and Clyde and you get killed and you leave your small children behind, then what? Then what? You have small children. Then what? Then what? It's a sad situation. How many times have we seen balloon release? How many times have we seen a cardboard cutout with the woman face on it and all that, the whole body? How many times that we've seen funerals packed out full of young people because a female got involved with a lot of things? You hear about females getting men set up. You hear about females on social media threatening men, saying what they're going to do to them and all that. Now, Orion, what we're witnessing right now is, I call it the winter time effect. All winter long, a lot of us, well, I wouldn't say us, well, some people have talked lip box all on social media. Now that the weather is warming up, everyone wants to come outside. Now, but you forgot about the things that you said back in December and January and February when it was cold. And now you're outside in April and you got a mask on your face. Now you're watching your back because all the negative things and the threats that you said to people, and some people are not going to back down. You're going to have to live up to it. You're going to have to show them. You got to show it. But I'm going to let you talk, Orion. I know I'm sorry. I'm just taking over. I just want you to talk. Go ahead, my brother.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And this is the discussion that we want the community to have, right? Because we're looking for, obviously, root causes, but we're also looking for solutions. And one person is not going to have a solution. We have to try to come together as a village and be able to find solutions to some of these problems. I want to speak to what you're saying because like December 2023, we had a 29-year-old, her name was Danielle Banks, out in Harvey. She was stabbed to death, and her body was actually set on fire in a Riverdale alley by 3 individuals over an alleged $65 debt, right? And there were two guys and a woman who were involved in this act. February 18, 2026, the body of a 22-year-old woman was found shot to death on a dirt road at Altgeld Gardens, where a garbage worker discovered her body with multiple gunshot wounds. 2025, 5 gunmen approached a woman who was 43. Her name was Michelle Blunt, and shot her the very next day at Altgeld Gardens again. Deja Manning was shot and killed by another young woman. So we're seeing this violence is coming from both men and women that's involving women. It's not just men that are the perpetrators. There are also women who are involved in this. February 9th, 2025, a woman was fatally shot on the 1800 block of East 79th Street while she was celebrating her birthday, and she left behind 6 children. And so, this is something it's a crisis, it's a problem in our community. And I believe that a lot of this is inspired by or influenced by what we're seeing on social media, but then even some of these reality shows where you see a lot of women arguing and fighting, and not just young women or teenagers, but we are even seeing women in their 30s and 40s, and they're arguing and they're fighting, and they're getting attention though for this, and possibly even rewarded, because then they get another contract or they get their own show. And so then when people are getting attention for being violent and possibly even rewarded for it, well, then you have a generation that's been reared under social media and reared growing up, rather, watching these television shows. And, they're watching these reality shows, and they figure that this behavior is normal and acceptable. And then it gets passed down.
I agree. I agree with everything you said, and I don't want. Let me just show a video. I really not supposed to show it, but I'm going to show it anyway. Just this is what we're talking. This type of behavior. This is what we're saying. Hold on. The man just standing in that video. No one trying to break it up. Look at the man. Look at the man. Look at the man. Okay, enough of that. Enough of that. Enough of that. Orion, let's comment on this video, man. What is it that we see? I don't know if this took place here in the city of Chicago, but this is some of the things that we're talking about. Let's talk about this. You're the professional here. You're the trainer. Go ahead.
I mean, for one, we don't really know why it began. But from what I see is that managing emotions is a lot of our young people have a problem managing their emotions at the end of the day, and so if you have we have trauma that's been passed down throughout the generations, and to give us as a people grace, mental health is something that's relatively new to us as far as accepting it. And because it was a stigma with that, and we didn't want to be associated with it, but also a distrust with the so-called authorities when it comes to the medical profession, from the years of them experimenting with us, giving us bad diagnoses and so forth. So we have been less inclined to believe in, mental health and therapy. But even beyond that, we were never given an opportunity to heal from all of the trauma, from going from the plantation, Jim Crow, then after that. So we never really had the opportunity to do that. So we've dealt with this, been carrying this on for so many years, passing down that generational trauma. And so now, after mass incarceration, and you having the women a lot of the women having to bear the burden of supporting the family while the males were absent, that's just been a lot for our women to have to deal with. Okay. And then,
let me cut you off. It sounds like you make an excuse for this type of behavior. but I won't say that. But let me just say this. Let's address the men in that video. The men in that video, they were standing there on the wall with their cell phones up, recording. Let's talk about the men.
Right.
Let's talk about these men in this video.
Yeah, the men are supposed to be the guardians, right?
Right.
No doubt about that. We're supposed to be the guardianship in the community. And so for the men to be standing there instigating it, because that's really what a lot of that is. Like, if you have your phone out, if there's a fight that's going on and somebody has their phone out, then it's instigating it, because everybody knows that if somebody has their phone out recording a fight, that it's going to go on social media. So it's a sad situation for them to be standing there and actually encouraging it instead of trying to de-escalate the conflict. But that's something that has to be taught. We live in a culture of violence. We've been raised in a culture of violence, men and women. And so until we try to have a paradigm shift in what is acceptable in behavior in men and women, then this is going to continue.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I want to speak to some issues. Now, women blame the men, and the men blame the women. Have you've heard that? And we've heard that in the Holy Book. In the Holy Book, the scriptures. Adam blamed the woman. He said, God, it was the woman that you gave me. And God told Adam, but I told you, you knew not to eat up the fruit, but you did it anyway. So a lot of this I see in today's society, that black men, we're blaming the women. We really are blaming the women. And I think that women should take some fault, but I don't think that they should take all the blame. Well, what are you saying, Marty? You're talking out of both sides of your mouth. No, I'm not. Now, if a woman have children, there was a man around sometime now. Whether you just having fun with him, that means he's around. Now, I've always said, if a woman shares her body with a man, and I don't want to get into deep detail, and she have unprotected sex with a man, this particular man that he's her boyfriend, or he's a man or a significant other, and he's doing things for her, but she tells him that my children are off limits. I never understood that, brother. Never understood that. See, our children need fathers. Our teenagers need fathers. Now, as an adult, because then an adult, grown, full adult, if you say you don't need no man, you probably don't need no man. Or if you don't want no man, you have that option. But what about your children? What about the children? And I look at it like this. My buddy Mark Mitchell, Teamwork Inglewood, I will say this, one of my boss, he said that, Martin, if you look at the whole thing, he laid it out. He just laid it out in my mind. You got the mother, the father's already not in the home. Then you got the mother that's working 8 hours, working 8 hours. So she come home, the children are already, in the morning she leave out, the children getting dressed, going to school. Then when she got time, she get home, they already at home. They practically raising themselves. And so this is what we're seeing out here on the teen trends and things like that. No fathers in the home, and the mother's gone all day. Now, I'm not talking about the mothers that's sitting at home all day. I'm talking about the mothers that's going out there, working, going to school, and your children are at home babysitting themselves with the cell phone, with the tablets, with the computer. Social media has become the new babysitter, if I may use that term. Social media has become the new babysitter. The father's not in the home. The mom is not in the home as well. I'm telling you, these children are into a lot of things when their parents are not around. No one wants to believe, Orion, that their child is out there gang banging. No one wants to believe that their child out there selling sex. No one wants to believe these things. No one wants to believe that their child out there stealing. No one wants to believe that their child is ditching school or cutting school, not going to school. No one wants to believe that. No parent. And I hear a lot of parents say, "Hey, I feed you, I clothe you, I give you a warm place to live and all that, and this is how you do. This is what you do with me." And I tell any parent out there, no matter if you're male or female, you have to do the best you can. You don't know exactly what you're raising. You have to do the best you can. The scripture said, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he get older, he shall not depart." That's what the scripture said. But a lot of people, you say, "Well, Martin, my mother grew up in all that religious stuff. I don't want that stuff." I told myself, when I get grown, my kids ain't gonna have to go to church, and I ain't gonna force them to do nothing. But I tell you one thing, Mr. Orion, church sure enough helped me. Now, I'm not saying that I was a perfect angel, but when I got to the lowest of the lowest, I knew how to get down on my knees and pray. I knew how to call somebody and say, "Hey, pray for Martin Johnson." So I would never go against the church in that sense, because the church have made me who I am today. It really have. It have given me a new sense of direction of life. It have given me a new mindset of life. And I always tell people, it may not work for you, but it worked for me. And I appreciate it. And that's just my little testimony, my saying. If you want to call in, 872-297-6389. Again, 872-297-6389. The phone lines are open. Go ahead, my brother.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I'm definitely agreeing with you with a lot of things that you're talking about, that you're saying. The mothers, we definitely need, I think that in our community there has to be a place where proper etiquette is taught. If we're going to build like what we call a beloved community, etiquette has to be taught to our youth. Women on how they should conduct themselves as women, and men on how they should conduct themselves as men, and then how they should interact with one another. And until that's done, I don't think that we can be able to fix these problems in totality. So I really think that that's important. Culture, obviously, teaching our kids about their culture. It's your saying is, "I love being black."
Yes, sir.
So how do you get to a point to where you love being black? Well, it's about knowing your history, having an understanding about the culture that your ancestors came from, and the sacrifices that they made. Understanding that's the only way that you're going to really love being black. And with the violence that's taking place in our community, and I'm preaching to the choir, it's actually just saying that we hate ourselves, and we hate people that look like us. So that's important, culture and etiquette. Because if you listen to, and you've heard it, we've all heard it, if you listen to how men address women, and even refer to the women that are the mother of their children or their girlfriends, "That's my B."
Mm-hmm.
And years ago that would have been considered offensive, but now that's something that's used, and it's something that's been normalized. So just even with that, how the way that the women are, the women and the men address themselves, how they speak to one another speaks volumes about how much they value one another. So I think that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we got to get to the root cause, and we have to be honest. I notice. Let me put myself on the screen. I notice, Orion, when I get to speaking to the parents, preferably the mothers, I can see a lot of people coming in live and they'll leave. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. And let me just say this. I'm going to say this the best I know how, and I'm going to speak with authority. A lot of you parents know what your sons and daughters are into. You turn a blind eye. You can see my son shooting. You can see my son gang banging. You can see my son carjacking. I'm just using that term. But you can't see your son doing nothing. And we got to get out of that. We have to get out of that. And you wonder why some of us don't want to live around each other. Because we don't trust each other. We don't have no confidence in one another. I'm at work all day, but you're going to allow your son to break in my house. He broke in my house and stole some silver coins or some gold coins, and he came back and brought them to you, and you didn't say anything as a parent. You looked as this is a come up. I know it's wrong, but he won't know who did it because he's gone all the time. He's gone 10, 12 hours a day. But I'm your neighbor. How about if I, as your neighbor, see you coming home one night, late night from the club, 2:30 in the morning, and I see a guy approaching you, and I'm in the window, and I don't say anything. I just leave out the window. Don't call the police. Don't say, hey, were you all right, Miss Johnson or Miss Smith? You wouldn't like that. You wouldn't like that, would you? The same way as I don't like the fact that you allowed your son, or you had, knowing that your son broke into my home or my apartment and stole my jewelry or my coin collection. And you guys took it and sold it. See, we endorsing certain behavior. I remember, Mr. Meadows, and your mom is an educated woman, and some things that we couldn't bring home. Our parents, If we give our parents some money, they wouldn't even, the first thing they want to know, Mr. Meadows, where did you get this money from? Some of these parents, they worse than some of these men. Sleep with these young girls. If they don't ask, if I ain't going to ask, I don't want to know. And you can look at it, that girl is a minor. And same way with the parents. You know that your son and your daughter did something financial to get that money in that house. Now, your daughter just came in the house with a real Gucci purse with extensions down to her buttocks. Got her hair done. She have no type of money, no type of job. Where did she get that money from? And now she handing you $100. 2 crisp $100 bills. You ain't saying nothing. You quiet. Your son, he comes in the house with a Mercedes-Benz key fob, my brother, and you don't say anything. And he come up to you and say, Mom, my friend let me keep the car. You don't question anything. You said, well, come on, take me to the grocery store. First of all, your son is a minor. He don't have no driving license. He's not in school. He's not in driver's ed. But see, this is type of behavior that we're talking about in a home now. I'm talking about in a home now. You said, well, Martin, you ain't got no right. Stick with crime. You don't tell me how to run my house. No, I don't tell you how to run your house. And you're right. I pay the bills. You're right. You pay the bills. But you can't stop me from talking, telling the truth, and shame the devil. Because I'm talking about you. You know it. As a parent, you are endorsing that bad behavior. You go to the laundromat. Now, all of a sudden, you pull out this shirt, your son's favorite shirt, and you see blood on it. Now, you know he haven't got cut or anything. So right there, that should bring up antennas like, oh, what is my son into? What have he done? Or you see gunpowder residue on your son, a long sleeve shirt. You don't say anything. Or you got his dirty clothes. Now you at the laundromat. Now you pull out a 9mm inside of his laundry bag, dirty clothes. You don't say anything. That's what I'm talking about, people. We have to, as parents, we have to get on our children to be good parents. Listen, if we're going to heal this problem, Brother Meadows, we have to, it has to start at home. It has to start at home if we're going to fix it. Don't you know how embarrassing it is, man, to see black young teenagers on the public transportation having sex, fighting, gambling, smoking weed, beating up passengers, just no type of boundaries, anything. That's embarrassing. Very embarrassing. As a black man, as a black woman, it's very embarrassing. Why is it that it's our children that's on the train doing all these things? Why is it that it's our children going downtown in Hyde Park, running on top of people's cars and stuff like that? Why is it? We got to ask ourselves that question. Why is it our children? We got to call. We got to call. We're going to take this call. Why is it? We have to ask ourselves the question. We need some answers. We need some answers. Hey, my brother, how you doing? Hello, brother.
Yeah, hey, what's happening, man?
Well, you cut me off in the heat of the moment, but go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Go
ahead.
All right.
Go ahead. All
right.
I know you got a lot to say. I appreciate you, brother.
No.
Go ahead.
No. I'm gonna make it quick, and I'm gonna let, if there's other calls, I'm gonna let them come in. But you were saying that it starts in the home, and I agree with that. I agree, but I think it starts at conception.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, well, I don't have the solutions, brother. Let me just be honest with you. But there's some things that I would like to see happen. And the main thing is, I would like to not only see the fathers and men involved in this whole situation, because I think that a lot of this is a result of our absence. And what I'd like to do is leave the door open for them to come back into the familial realm and balance the energies that are in that realm. And what do I mean when I say that? Well, first, I think at birth there should be paternity tests. I think that effort should be made for every child born that child knows who their father is. A lot of women conceive children with men, and those men don't know that they have children because the woman never tells them. Or they have those children aborted, and those children have fathers who should be included in that decision. So I'd want the children and the mothers are connected, but I think the children and the fathers should be equally as connected as the children and the mothers. Also, one thing that I would like to see, and some of the people in the chat and calls may disagree, but I'd like to see efforts made to reduce or eliminate paternity fraud. Again, it's the same issue. We know the mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Men, to do what we need to do, we need to know that we're responsible and this seed is ours. And I think if a lot of men, all things being equal, now some men don't care. Some Pookie and Ray Rays don't care. And the Hoochie Mamas and Laquishas and a lot of them don't care either. But a lot of men knew that they had children. They would care about those children. Third thing, all things being equal now, I think that too often in the court system, custody is given to the mothers, when I think a lot of times custody should go to the fathers. I think if the child is a newborn, an infant, before they're weaned and everything, then naturally the child should go to the mother, even after they start walking. But after age like 4 or 5, those critical learning years, if there's a divorce or a separation and that man's paternity is affirmed and documented, I think that there should be a greater effort to balance the custody than what we have today. Today we have what appears to me to be a difference or favoring of mothers in custody. And I don't think in my heart that nature intended it that way. I think that a lot of fathers, and I'll just come out and say it, and a lot of people won't like this, but all things being equal, in the long run, in my heart of hearts, I do believe that fathers are the better parent. And my father was garbage. He sucked. He was garbage. I haven't seen or talked to him in 30 years. But my situation is not necessarily the norm. I have rapport with young people when I was in my teens up to this very time, this very day. A lot. If you look at whose influence benefits the children the most and prepares them to go into adulthood responsible, industrious, and taking good care of themselves, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but all I can say is my opinion, that would be the fathers. I think that's why a white-dominated court system makes sure that the children are given to the mothers, but I could be wrong. One last thing, I guess you were right. I guess you made a liar out of me. I guess I did have a lot to say. Cut me off if I'm taking too much time. But one other thing, violence against women. I saw this years ago. Now check this out. In the 90s, I began to see in media, in movies, in music videos, in TV shows, I began to see a lot of violence against women depicted in media. And it was disturbing because it was very graphic and it wasn't just horror movies. Then I began to see the popularity of female MMA, women getting their nose broke, women getting knocked out, women getting their jaw broke, women getting body slammed. And then you had the concept or the advent of the trans movement. And now you got men beating women's ass in the arena and knocking them out. So this violence that we're seeing against women, in my opinion, I think this is something that's been brewing for quite a long time. And I think it's from the devil. And I'm not even a very Christian religious person, but I think it's from hell and I think it's from the devil. And with that, I yield to the host.
Okay. Co-host, they put up a question they wanted you to answer. Orion?
Yes.
Let me put that question up. Hold on, put it back up. And I want you to answer the question the best you can. Okay, here it is on the screen. Question for the co-host. What tools can you share to help rebuild the bridge between Black men and women so we can renew respect and support toward each other?
So as I said earlier, I teach nonviolence. And so when I'm teaching what nonviolence is and how to practice it, I try to get them to explore what are the nuances of violence, because when we talk about violence, we normally speak of it from an external physical point of view. But violence is something that's broader, meaning that anything that causes suffering or harm upon another person or a group of people. And so then we start exploring about your actions and even your words, how they may harm another person, what it does to another person. And sometimes initially, some of the nuances or aspects of violence, people don't necessarily agree with or accept. But as you explore, then you begin to see that my behavior, my words, these things that I'm doing is harming another person. And so once you begin to understand that, if you begin to embrace the different forms of violence that one may be inflicting upon another person, then you can begin to see that that's offending that person. And after that, you take accountability in that. And that's one way of renewing and repairing relationships between not just men and women, but different parties that are involved in this. So that's what I do. Like I try to get them to explore that. If you can begin to embrace that, then you start looking for ways to be able to not engage in that type of behavior. But if you're not aware of it, if you're not cognizant that some of the ways that you have been raised, that those things are harmful, that they're toxic, then you'll repeat them and you will pass them along. So it's first about that awareness, trying to bring people to a realization, awareness of violence that they partake in that they might not necessarily think are violent.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We're taking calls 872-297-6389. If you have any questions for our co-host, be more than free to hit the chat. My dear sister, she said, why don't you do a panel or show on healing the black man and the black woman relationship? Man, that's possible. Maybe you go ahead.
It's possible. But that mean that we are multifaceted people. And so to do that, I think that one of the first steps is talking about the state of femininity in the village. And the violence that's involved in women, whether it's coming from men or whether it's also woman on woman violence. So this is part of that, and this could lead to that conversation. But if we are having women, the women who are the ones who are giving birth, they're the nurturers. If they're the ones who are being targeted, if they're under attack, then we can't even, if we're not addressing that, then we can't even get to the next phase of what you're talking about, is healing the relationship between a black man and a woman.
Okay. Here's another one she wrote on here. She says that start a show where we only, as black men and women, call in with positive affirmations to one another. We need to speak out positive more, and we're good at pointing out the negatives. Now, let me just say this. Let me go on that. Now, we can't call something negative if it's the truth. In order to get help, you have to admit where you weak at. You have to admit it. It's like a person that's in treatment. In order for treatment to be effective in his life, he must admit that he have a problem. And that reminds me of a scripture. Let me go a little biblical on you. He that cometh to God must believe that he is, and he is a rewarder to him that diligently seek him. So when you come to God, you got to have belief, of faith, that he's going to do what you're asking him to do. So let's be honest. If your son or my son shoot and kill somebody, he's a murderer, period. He's a murderer. Now, he wouldn't be considered a murderer in my book if it was self-defense. But if he killing another man and another woman because he's the opposite gang or got a different color on there, he's a murderer. He's a murderer. That's what it is. There's nothing negative about that. Period.
And Mark,
go ahead, bro.
And I like to speak to that because no, we're not trying to focus on the negative, but it is a growing concern. We're seeing this at a level that we have not seen in the past. Gwendolyn Brooks wrote a poem years ago about girls in gangs. I think they were like Blackstone Rangers or something like that. And this was a long time ago, like in the 60s and the 70s. So we've always had the issue of women involved in violence, but we're seeing it at a higher rate than we haven't before. So it's something that should be addressed. And when we're talking about violence involving women, normally we're talking about women who are being attacked by men. But this isn't always the case. In a lot of these cases, like in the video that we saw, those were all women that were involved in that. And we're seeing that a lot. And so if we have a culture where there are women who are encouraging fighting or being encouraged to fight, then we're in trouble, because they're passing that on to their daughters and their sons.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. We're taking more calls, 872-297-6389. Again, 872-297-6389. That's the call-in number. If you want to make a call, women, you're more than welcome. Men, you're more than welcome. Come on in and call and give us some facts or give us some pointers that we can help. We all in this together, people. It's our children that's out there on the red line. It's our children out there that's taking ATM and smashing and crashing and snatching ATMs. It's our children that's out there doing drive-by shootings on each other. It's our children. Now think about every child or every teenager that's out there committing a crime. They have a parent somewhere. Regardless if the parent gave them up for adoption or something, they have a name. Somebody birthed this child. Somebody did. Now I'm not just talking about the mother. I'm on the father too, because we're not gonna let the men slide. Because we have a tendency to blame the woman again. We're not just gonna fault the woman, but we want to protect the woman. And what I hate, Brother Orion, I hate to see a woman carry on like she a man. I hate that. There's a video in the social media world. Some of you guys have seen it. This stud, as we call it, a stud. A stud is classified as a woman, but she carries on and she lives her life as a man. Okay, that's her prerogative. That's the way she want to live her life. There's nothing Martin Johnson can say. Now, she was in another man's face saying what she gonna do to him. And she swung up, threw something at him, and he beat her down like a man. I mean, he literally beat her down. And I've talked to a lot of people that saw that video, and they said they don't feel bad for her, female, because she stood up in a man's face, that's just a grown woman, and said what she'll do to him. And is that cool, Martin, for a man to put his hand on a woman? That's not cool at all. That's not at all. Is it cool for a woman to stand toe-to-toe with a man? That's not cool at all. Especially when she can walk away from it. Now, I understand when a man approaching you on that matter, you have to defend yourself. I understand that. But if you can avoid that, getting into a confrontation with a man, and I'm going to say this, some men don't care if you're a female or not. They're going to beat you down as if they was fighting a man. You said, well, Martin, it seemed like you advocating for a man to put his hand on a woman. No, I'm not at all. No, I got 4 beautiful daughters, and I would hate for a man to put his hand on them. I would hate. I don't know what would I do. I'm praying that it never happened. I'm praying that it'll never happen. And if it do, I don't know what mindset that I would be in. How would I retaliate? What would I do? Don't know. Don't know. Be honest with you. So I advise any woman that's on social media tonight or in the morning, whenever you're going to be on there, stay out of these young men business. If they want to shoot and kill each other, you get out the way. You should not be out there driving a drive-by car. You should not be getting guns in your name and giving it to your boyfriend. You should not be riding around with men that's confrontational on social media. They're confrontational with the police. They're confrontational with people in the street. It's just a matter of time when you're riding in the car and your small children, that someone's going to come up to the car and spray. We seen it back in December. We just seen it back about a month ago. And I always say, Brother Ryan, it's always the man that lives because he know the duck. He knows it. But it's the woman just so naive, driving and looking and figure like, well, I don't bother nobody. Should nobody touch me? But that's not the case. It's the company that you keep. And that can be real toxic. It can cost you. It can cost you bodily harm. It can cost you your life. And your children are going to miss you, young lady. Real talk. And we only say, I'm saying this tonight out of love. Not to beat down no woman. Not to make no woman feel bad. But I want to bring it to your attention. Don't you know it hurts me when I see a beautiful young lady laying in that casket, had a beautiful future, and she was shot down like a dog for something that she didn't do, didn't have nothing to do with it, but it was just the company that they was keeping. It hurts. It hurts. And guess what? These men gonna move on. They're going on to the next one. You dead and gone now. Men going on to the next one. I'm telling you, brother, I ain't gonna say no name, but I know a case right now where a boyfriend and girlfriend was in a car. The girlfriend got shot and the boyfriend got shot. He never made no post. She got shot and killed. He never made no post about his girlfriend. Nothing. Never. I know a case, but I would not mention no names because I'm not in here trying to start nothing or stir up nothing. I'm telling you, I know a case, Brother Orion, where a brother was getting ready to get robbed. And some men came up to the car, started shooting. He grabbed the woman and pulled her over him. And she took all the bullets. I know of a case like that, brother. Right here. Listen, people. Women, you better be careful who you think your protector is. I'm telling you. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, to speak to that, out in Riverdale, I think it's been because time goes by so fast, but it was like maybe 2-3 years ago, in Riverdale, they found a man and woman, murdered in their apartment. Nobody had heard a thing, and just thinking about that situation. She may have been innocent. She may have been involved. But to speak to what you're saying, if you are surrounding yourself with a person like that, then you putting yourself in danger, in harm's way. And especially if you have children, you shouldn't want to have them in the midst of people who are involved in those type of activities. But I saw one of the comments, and someone was talking about how violence amongst Black women is being sensationalized, and it's true. It's true. And for a lot of them, especially when they're raised up on that, they can't differentiate reality from fiction, from television or entertainment. And so they're being influenced and inspired by these people who are in entertainment, and they try to act it out in real life. And that's the men and the women. But we know, like in the 90s, 2000s, even in the late 80s, they were targeting the men. Now they're targeting our women because they locked up a lot of the men, removed them with mass incarceration, with drugs. And then there were a lot of murders. There was a lot of violence that even came from that, vying for the territory to sell the drugs and things like that. So they successfully removed a lot of our men. Now they're targeting our women. And so this is not by accident or by coincidence that we're seeing an increase in the violence, the fighting, and the shootings and stabbings amongst the women. This is by design, because you've isolated the woman by removing a lot of the men, that male presence, leadership in the community. And now, if you're encouraging violence amongst them, then you're going to see a lot of them locked up, or they're not capable of being able to provide and nurture their children. And so they'll either be removed or they'll pass that on to them. And it just perpetuates a culture of chaos in our communities. And so, because the woman is really like the first teacher that the child sees, is very important. It's imperative for us to try to turn this around and decrease this violence that's not just directed towards women, but with them being actively involved. And I believe it was Marcus Garvey, and I'm paraphrasing, I believe it was him that said that, a nation can only, rise as high as its woman.
Beautiful, beautiful. I agree with that. We're still taking calls, 872-297-6389. This is your boy, Martin G, a.k.a. The Crime Chaser. My co-host today is Orion Meadows, the poet, the nonviolence trainer. He's everything. I've gotten a chance to work with him with my organization, and he's a great person to work with. He loves the work. He knows the work, and he's teachable, even though he's a trainer, but he's teachable. Some people, they are trainers and they are teachers, but they're not teachable at all. So I appreciate you, brother, for actually coming on tonight. I was a little tired. I'm working extra hours now, and I just came on here tonight. I just made it. So let me get on here and make this thing happen, because it's very important. If we can change, intervene, interrupt someone behavior, change their social norms, I think we've done a great job. If we get one parent, male or female, to turn their way of thinking, have a new mindset, I think we've accomplished great things. And even today on that panel, that we can do some things that work with people. There are some people that want change, but they have to get around the right people, and they have to listen to the right people to get change. That reminds me of a scripture. The Bible said, how can they hear except they have a preacher? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing what? The word of God. The word of God, it changes people. And I'm not trying to put my beliefs on nobody, but it changes people. The Bible said the power of life and death is in the tongue. You can speak life over your situation, or you can speak death over your situation. One preacher said to me, he said, God can talk to you standing up or laying down. You choose which one you rather would have. So this thing is serious tonight, people. It's really serious. We don't want nobody beating up on our women. Brother Orion, I remember I was standing in front of nail salons. Now, you wouldn't have none of them Korean nail shops, Vietnamese, that's what they are, beating on no black men. They'll whoop on a black woman in a minute. And when I was standing in front of those shops, boycotting, pleading with black women not to go in there, them women wanted to fight me. They wanted to cuss me out. They did cuss me out. Say, you need to go get a job. I said, this is my job, to protect you. And I stood strong on it. And a lot of women right now today, they can't stand Martin Johnson Gus because they chose beauty over unity. They would not unify with us. All they had to do is not go there and go somewhere else. That's all they had to do. I'm showing you, without me pulling a gun out, without me breaking a glass, without me going in there and beating up the Korean man, that Vietnamese man. We financially castrated his business. Hey, don't go in there. Because a lot of these different people, nationalities, they're depending on us, our money, to fuel their business. And if we don't come in some of their business, they're in trouble. They can't eat. They can't pay their car note. They can't pay their mortgage. They won't be able to send their teenagers or their young adults to college if we don't come in their business. Imagine, ladies, imagine if you guys decide to do your own nails, your own toenails, your own eyebrows arch. Imagine you will put a lot of people out of business. Just imagine, even if you did each other nails and arch each other's eyebrows and toenails and manicures and pedicures, you'll put a lot of people out of business. Serious. But they got so upset with me, Mr. Meadows, because I took up for the black women. I said, it's our job as men. We stood in the gap. We didn't go in there with no pistol. We didn't light a match to the person's business. We didn't do none of those things. We stood in front of that and we educated the women that were going in there about how you guys are being mistreated. And that's what I did. I stood firm on it. And I'm hated for right now today for doing that. And that's what we have to do. But I don't care. And if I had an opportunity to do it again, I would do it again. And if it's for a sister. Because there are some black men that care about our black women and they ain't trying to go to bed with you. They don't care how skin tight clothes that you have on or how you look. They care about black women. And I'm one of them brothers, and you're one of them brothers, and a lot of brothers that's on this live, listen to me right now, that care about black women. Not just their nieces, not just their wives, not just their daughters, but they care about black women, period. And she don't have to be a relative or a close friend. Period. Go ahead, my brother.
And Martin, you know, some of that comes from just a distrust, a lack of trust in our community. A lot of our women don't trust men, and they've been conditioned to not trust or have faith in black men. And to go back to the question that was asked by I can't remember who it was about the tools. So in Kingian Nonviolence, we have what we call the steps, the 6 steps of Kingian Nonviolence. And the first one is to gather information. And then the second one is to share information. And then the third one is commitment. And I'll break it down for you a little bit. So we have to gather information, meaning that we have to become educated on what has happened to us, how our family unit, our relationships have been fractured. And we're not properly educated on that, most of us. How we ended up in this, under these conditions. It took a long time to get us here. And there was a lot that was done to us. And so just to even be properly educated on that. And then even, and to talk about what's presently going on to keep us divided, to even exacerbate it. Like your platform is to try to bring us together. Everybody might not always agree with what's being said, but you definitely are trying to bring us together. But there are so many platforms that are out there that are they're benefiting on this gender war, and we don't see it. Obviously, it happens in every community, but we don't see it being pushed out there and promoted as much in other communities as we do in the black community. You got a platform where it's a bunch of men that are saying negative things about the women, and then on the other side you got a bunch of platform with the women are saying things negative about the men, calling them broke and things like that. And so as long as we have these platforms that are, their agenda is to divide us with all their topics. They're always, the black man isn't this, or the black woman isn't that. We got to steer them away from that, because this is what they grew up with, social media, these devices. And so the algorithm keeps pushing that to you. Once you start clicking on it and liking this, they're going to keep showing you more and more of that. And so we have to, during the civil rights movement, they had what they call freedom schools. And we need to have a modern day version of the freedom schools. And the purpose was to liberate them through education. And we got to have that, but we have to shape it in a way that is going to be relevant and pertinent to our issues today. Because the education system that we have is not suitable for us culturally. So we do what we are required to do in these schools, but we have to have something outside of these schools, places where we could go, create these spaces where we're able to guide and direct them culturally and how they should interact with one another. And we have to start, and we have to be very aggressive and assertive in this, because they're being attacked from the time that they're able to touch those tablets and devices and being exposed to it. And of course, the parents, a lot of our parents, definitely, their brains need to be rewired. But until we're able to do that, because we definitely want to do that, we want to have programs that teach parents how to be parents. Because a lot of them don't know that. They don't have that, unfortunately. But we have to have spaces where there are people like Dr. Africa Porter, Dr. Obari Cartman, and there are so many other people out there that are qualified to do that. But having those spaces where they're able to educate our youth, get them at a very young age, where they're impressionable, and that they will be influenced by these entities as opposed to what's out there on social media, and all these, these apps, these platforms that are really benefiting from keeping us divided and are benefiting from our misery and perpetuating the violence out there.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Hey, brother, I think we've said enough tonight. We've been on here about hour and 23 minutes. I appreciate you coming in tonight, being the co-host. I think we'll probably come on one more time before the event on the 23rd. But it was some great information that was given out here today. And as I say, I don't have all the answers. I don't believe no one person have all the answers. But we're connected to God, who has all the answers. And we need help. The black family, the black man need to protect the black woman. I'm telling you. If you look at the media, I was looking at a talk show today, brother. I think, and they was saying that, I think I was listening to it, that if you look at the media, you think every successful, well-off black man have a white woman on his arm. You'll believe that, but that's not true. That's not the case. The brother brought out the numbers, and I was like, man, see, that's what we need to look at the numbers, at the data. We have to look at the data, people. If you look at the news, you'll think every black teenager is a gangbanger, is a thug, is a looter, is a drug dealer, is a shooter, and we know that's not the case. There are so many young people out here They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're listening to their parents. They're going to school. They're studying, and they're going to be they're going to be great in life. And those that's on the wrong path, is our duty as examples, as adults and community activists and community leaders, to point them in the right direction. But we can't point them in the right direction if we still shaking up, if we still low-key gang banging, if we low-key selling drugs. Our witness won't be effective toward them, and they know it. And we have to be great. We have to be examples what we want our young people to be. And that's real talk. And that's all. I'm gonna finish with that point. I'm good tonight. My heart is clear, my hands are clear, and I spoke from the heart tonight. And if anybody don't like nothing I said, shame on you. I'm like Dr. G. Charles Hayes. He's dead. He said, I'll run before I take it back. Then I'll add more to it. Brother Ryan, you got the last word.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for allowing me to come on here. And thank you for accepting the invite to be one of our panelists for this event. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching this, and a shout out to everybody who's going to be a part of the event. Like I said, we're honoring Dr. Africa Porter. We're going to have Dr. Barry Carmen. We're going to have Martin be one of the panelists there. We're honoring the Women's Justice Institute. Veronica Harrison will be one of our moderators for one of the panels. She is an author. One of the books that she wrote was entitled Hood Healing. And there are more people that we're going to have. They're going to be part of this, because it is not only Sexual Assault Awareness Month, but it's also National Poetry Month. So the last hour, because the event will be from 6 to 9 p.m., April 23rd at Northeastern Illinois University, 5480 North St. Louis Avenue. So the last hour, because it's National Poetry Month, we will have spoken word performances. So if you are a fan of spoken word, this is an event that you would also want to come and be a part of. So we're going to have great performances as well. That's it though. Just if you guys are interested in it, come and hear what our panelists have to say. Come with us and celebrate our honorees and hear some of the performances. And thank you.
If you enjoyed the show, just type in the comments why yes. If you enjoyed the show, just type one word, say yes, or one word yes, or one letter why, and that's good for me. And I want to thank everybody. I appreciate you, brother. As always, it's always been around you good. And we met in the CVI world, and we're still together. We work together, and it's another brother that works with me as well. And we work good together. He don't talk a lot, but hey, he's about he's about business, and that's one thing I like about him. He's an example to what he wants us to be. The man practice and live and breathes the Martin Luther King nonviolent model. I'm telling y'all, people, I've seen him in action. So I want to thank y'all. Y'all already know what it is.
You already know what it is.
And
live,
shame the
uncut,
devil.
unedited. Tell the truth.
And what?
And shame the devil.
And what else?
I love being black.
Hey, Brother Orion, I love being black. In the midst of thousands of white people, in the midst of bad media, I love being black. In the midst of teen takeovers, I still love being black. They'll never, you hear me? They'll never have me regretting that I'm black. They say, well, Mar, you ain't black, you're brown. Whatever you want to call me, I'm melanated. And I love who I am. I'm in love with my kinky hair and my full lips and my broad nose and my beautiful caramel complexion. I'm in love with it. you should be in love with yours too as well. Go in peace. Go in peace, people. Peace out. Share the video. If you like this segment, put yes in the comments. Please put yes in the comments. That'll do me fine. We're not asking you for no money. We're not trying to finesse you or anything. We want you to get help. And that's why we're coming together as a group of men and women. Some of us from the east side, the north side, the south side, the west side, but we all come together and get on Black people's issues. And who more qualified to talk about our issues, my brother, than us? Because we are that. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I've never been high a day in my life, so I don't know about getting high. I've never been on drugs, so I don't know how it feels to be on drugs. So a person that's on drugs is more qualified to speak on the subject of drugs. Like a man would never know what it's like to have a monthly cycle because we don't. Our bodies aren't made up that way. We just don't know. Period. I'm done, Orion. I got to get out of here because I'm just keep talking. Keep talking. All right. Peace out.